Hello, everybody. Once again, from the Republican Party of Texas Convention right here in Houston, I'm Brandon Waltons, managing editor of Texas Scorecard, and sitting with me right now is Stephen Willeford. If you don't know Stephen's story, I'll start out real quick, because I'm sure you're probably tired of telling it, but this is the hero of Sutherland Springs, the shooting that happened just a few years back in Texas, and that really kind of thrust you into the world of a lot of the politics and a lot of the things surrounding gun rights right here in Texas, right?
I was always kind of in that world and fighting the fight, but nobody listened to me until after Sutherland Springs, and then my story became very relevant to the fight.
And so now you're with Gun Owners of America. You've been here at the convention today, looking around. We were talking before we went live about how Texas, right, some of the legislation that was passed last session, including constitutional carry, which is probably the big one that people can think of, getting rid of the need to have a permit to carry a firearm, has made Texas essentially a Second Amendment sanctuary state, is how you put it. Expand on that a little bit.
So basically, Texas said that we will no longer honor or enforce any non-constitutional Second Amendment infringing bills that come from the United States Congress.
Right.
You know, so the federal government has just recently started passing gun laws, red flag laws, and banning 18-year-olds from owning certain guns and things, and all of this is kind of coming down from the federal government now. And this is exactly what Texas passed the sanctuary state for Second Amendment sanctuary state. And it's going to be interesting to see exactly how Texas deals with that, because we need to stand firm. You know, Psaki said that we all know that the federal government laws supersede states' laws. Well, that's incorrect. If she would knew her Constitution, she would know it is incorrect.
Right. And yet you have seen, especially in the last few weeks, a big movement in Washington, D.C., led by Democrats, but joined by some Republicans in efforts to get some of these gun control measures across. And they always seem to happen in the wake of tragedies, right? Obviously, we had the tragic shooting at the Uvalde Elementary School just a few weeks ago. And Democrats always seem to seize on these opportunities. How do Republicans react when they try to do that?
Well, Republicans, we shouldn't be doing a knee-jerk reaction on anything. And they say, oh, it's not knee-jerk, it's been coming. No, it is knee-jerk. Because none of these bills that they're trying to pass would make any difference or would have stopped an evil man from getting a gun. And all the way, we know in France that guns are illegal in general in France, and yet they keep getting hit with full automatic AK-47s. Bad guys are going to get guns. And as far as the 18-year-old bill, it has nothing to do with maturity and everything to do with mental illness. An 18-year-old serves his country and goes across the pond and with an M16 or a Abram tank and serves his country honorably. It's not a maturity issue. It's a mental health issue. In 2017, when the guy started shooting up First Baptist Church, he was 26 years old. That's not a maturity issue. It's not an age question or something like that. I think the shooter in Vegas was 60-something years old.
Not a maturity issue, right? So those raising the age doesn't really tackle that. The question then comes, especially for people on the left, is, so then what would you support, right? There's often this cry from them that you have to do something. What do we do?
If you want to do something and you want to really make a difference, because somebody asked me, where was your Constitution, where was your Second Amendment when this happened? And I say it was hamstrung by leftist thoughts. That the fact that you can't carry into a school, get rid of gun-free zones, start training teachers to be able to defend their students. And I'm not saying you should force a teacher to carry a gun. That's ludicrous. But there's teachers in every school that would be willing to take the training and to join the Guardian program. But we have school boards that don't want it and principals that don't want it. I think we should make it a mandatory for all the schools in the state to participate in the Guardian program and do away with gun-free zones.
Yeah, right now I believe it's an opt-in for school districts as to whether or not they'll allow a certain staff members to carry. I think we had an article recently, I think only 80 some odd of them do out of over 1,000.
And it's like a 30% ratio right now. And the crazy part of it is if you look at all the times that schools allow this, and it's been quite some time now, never has a school that allows teachers to train and allows them to come in and carry in schools, none of those schools have ever been hit with a mass shooter.
Your story, right, is one of the good guy with a gun, right? That a lot of Second Amendment advocates say is, precisely one of the reasons why we have the Second Amendment, why it's important for people to be trained in firearm usage and to be able to do that. But there are other stories that happen where you see good people with guns stopping bad situations where bad people have been doing these things. And yet so much of those stories have been hidden by the media, right? You very rarely see them in the mainstream news. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's kind of ridiculous. It doesn't fit their narrative. Because just recently, between the Buffalo shooting and the shooting that happened in Uvalde, there was a guy shooting an AR-15 into a graduation party. And a young lady pulled her own legally owned, legally permitted pistol and shot and killed him before he killed a bunch of people. We should be talking about the fact that she maybe saved 40 lives when she did that. But no one died, so no one wants to talk about it. The media doesn't want to talk about when someone uses a gun proactively and saves lives. Oh, well, it didn't bleed, so it doesn't lead. That lady should be given a medal. That lady should be recognized on a national stage. We need to stop putting the bad guys' names out there when these things happen and start talking about this young lady that did this, and I don't even know her name because the media never reports it.
Right. Talking about the sort of Democrat-led gun control proposal, right? You had a small group of Republicans led up by Texas's own Senator John Cornyn in writing that package. I don't know if you've spoken with Senator Cornyn, but if you could speak with him about that, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to remember back when Kay Bailey Hutchison signed the Brady bill, signed on with the Brady bill and the assault weapons ban, and then went to a gun rally afterwards, and they booed her off stage. I would say, Senator Cornyn, you're headed down that same path.
Now, for people who want to follow what Gun Owners of America is doing, what you're doing, where can they go to follow the organization?
Go to gunowners.org.
gunowners.org. Thank you so much, Stephen, for joining us. Thank you for joining us on the live feed here. We're going to continue throughout the afternoon here from Houston.